G'day and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. In this video I wanted to talk just a little bit about essentially, basically I just want to talk a little bit about this idea of store-based cosmetics. To be honest, I don't really like to talk too much about negative stuff. I like to keep my channel not strictly speaking instructional. I mean, I give lots of random stuff, information, stories, whatever I want to do about World of Warcraft. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of paid for cosmetics. And I've been playing World of Warcraft since before the release of paid for cosmetics. Obviously it was kind of a big contentious issue when it first came out, and I think gaming has normalized the concept of paid for cosmetics and store-based transactions so much that people, I don't want to say don't care, but there's definitely a feeling of like less, or maybe it's apathy. I wanted to say less resistance, but maybe people are just so worn down now by the concept of cosmetic purchases that they're just worn down. Now, World of Warcraft has always had services being paid for, things like character transfers, level boosts. I don't even want to talk about. We've spoken about the WoW token before. Faction changes, race changes, name changes, guild services. All of these things essentially have always been paid for. And one of the reasons is, yes, there is an admin kind of component to it, transferring server, the weight of transferring a character and transferring their gold, transferring everything to another server, the effect it has on the economy. So kind of like this idea of, I don't want to say restricting, but creating an environment where it's not necessarily ease to do. The harder it is to do, technically the better it is for the in-game economy. Then, of course, now there's kind of this incentive to have like a whole bunch of cosmetics with each expansion. I used to buy the collector's editions back in the day when you used to get a really cool physical box with artwork and CDs and statues and things like that. I don't do that anymore, mainly because they don't sell it in my country anymore. But they added in digital cosmetics, which weren't great in the sense of, like, as you can see here, it's it kind of shows as a pay to win, but it also wasn't the end of the world. Then slowly they started just adding in tons and tons and tons of toys, cosmetic items, 6-month mounts, the Dreadlord Regalia sets. I mean, look how many mounts there are. And yes, this one, these are from digital collector's editions, but look, there's 3 pages of mounts now, 24 mounts in game. Okay, 2 from collector's editions that you can buy from in game. And they're probably some of the highest level mounts quality in game. They match the highest comparable quality of mounts. Some are definitely even better. I mean, they're not bad mounts. They're not just there for collectors. They're objectively some of the better looking mounts in the game. I mean, this is objectively one of the best looking mounts, or some of the best looking mounts I've ever seen in an MMO, period. They look great. They look fantastic. They run smooth. I mean, they don't look like regular run-of-the-mill WoW mounts. Pets, okay, if you collect pets, good luck to you, but same situation. Fantastic looking pets, that look way better than a lot you'll gain in game, and the same kind of premise follows. Transmog sets, not a fan as well of this concept. I understand, of course, like some of them are silly. I believe there's the baby Murloc satchels and the Fire Plume Regalia, which, let's not even talk about game breaking and game immersion, but like the Celestial Observer set is just it's a great looking set. This should be a raid set. There's no reason this should exist. I know someone will pop in and say, oh, there's a recolor, but it's just not. It's not great. it's not great to have so much cool stuff. 20 pounds. What's that? 20 euros. 20 euros. If you count up all the stylistic options, so if I want all of these things, I have to spend 131 euros on a subscription. I know people say you subscribe anyway, but still. I have to buy the Blazing Hero pack for 30 euros. I have to buy a 10 euro there, so I'm already now sitting at 171 euros. I have to buy a Dreadlord's Regalia set for 20 euros, so I'm at 190 euros. Each mount is 25 euros, 15 euros. We're looking at maybe 195 euros, 200 euros, 200 euros. So that's 595. So I'm sitting at 785 euros. Pets, 80, 100, 140, 170, 195. So I'm now at 1,070 pounds. 1,090 pounds, 1,105, 1,125, 1,033, 55, 70, 90, 1 to 10. 1 to 10, and then finally 2, 1, 2 for the end. I got a Grand Hunt spoils. How's that one? Easy. Yeah, what an easy game. Grand. So it's 1,250 pounds that I would have to spend to be able to have all of the cosmetics. I know one of them is a subscription, and I understand it is technically discounted. So yes, I do understand that. However, it's cash they want you to spend up front. So it's not exactly the same as subscription because you have to pay it all in one go. Some people that's not really accessible. It's a way to also secure players and player base numbers for that 12-month period. So how they work it is if you buy it, doesn't actually matter if you then play, they run you as an active sub for their investor meetings. So basically, you buy it and all of a sudden you're essentially tagged down as an active player for World of Warcraft, no matter what actually happens in the game, which is its own kind of financial metric. But paid for like cosmetics should never be better than in-game cosmetics or even match in-game cosmetics. Like I've always had an issue with being able to buy incredibly cool looking mounts, incredibly cool looking gear, transmog. It's just not great. And I know they're giving out some from the Adventurer's Guide, like the cool little like ability to buy some of the old store mounts and things like that, but they just keep adding more. So in theory, they're just kind of putting away the stuff that people aren't buying. And what it's doing is it's kind of giving this idea of like, oh well, you are basically getting stuff that you could buy for money. We're giving away £50 worth of mounts really, but it's probably items that just don't have regular sales. And so it just really, for me, it's the one thing, like the WoW token and this is kind of like the things that really are the only things I kind of directly don't like about World of Warcraft. I don't like them about Final Fantasy either. It's something I truly dislike about Final Fantasy as well, and you can't defend it on either side. I don't believe Final Fantasy has any reason at all for having paid for cosmetics and a subscription service, especially making people pay for cosmetics that came out from previous holiday events. I just don't believe it's something you have to do. Yeah, okay, make store-based cosmetics like World of Warcraft if you have to. If you want to really play that game, be in that field, then go for it. I don't agree with it, but to make people pay for previous events is just as shady and scummy, and there's no real reason for anyone to defend any of these companies. Not World of Warcraft, not Final Fantasy. There's no reason for them to lock behind one of the biggest components of MMO games. MMO games are meant to be played for looking badass. Half the time we only play these games to get our level up, to be strong, to do raiding or do content, to look cool. It's your badge of honor. It's how you show other players that you are really someone that has dedicated a significant component of your time to the game. And for me, when you have like cosmetics like this, when you have cosmetics in Final Fantasy, when you have anything that can destroy that kind of player feeling, I think it's bad. Now, that's not to say all cosmetics are bad. Like silly cosmetics, BlizzCon-based cosmetics, incentives for people going to the real-life BlizzCon, I think is all more than fine. If you then put it up for sale on the store at a later date, once-off things are fine. In the sense of, like, I think one of my least favorite ones is that stupid onesie that everyone has, that everyone runs around in. Not that it's fine, but you know, those silly game-breaking immersion-based ones, I don't personally like them, but they're so silly they don't show up something that a player's achieved, because they are immersion-breaking. So, like, if I'm a raider and I've been raiding and I now have this really cool sword or this really cool armor set, it's not showed up by that onesie. I'm annoyed that that onesie kind of ruins my immersion and enjoyment of my armor set, but that onesie itself doesn't show me up. That player is just immediately known, and I know people will say, oh, it's the same for everything else, but everything else looks comparable to what I have, though. So it still ruins that experience, I think, for me. And again, that's not to say that people can and can't do whatever they want. They're more than welcome to. But for me, it's just something that basically takes me out of it, at least on a surface level. But yeah, that's it from me. Honestly, not too much really to say. Just kind of wanted to voice that opinion, and yeah, see what you guys think as well. But that's gonna be it from me. Good day.